Of all the players and prospects in this up-and-coming NBA draft, I don't think this player is the most intriguing, but what I do think is the case is that his situation is the most intriguing. I don't know if we've ever seen anything like this before, because Kyree Walker, he's a great basketball player. Let's put that out there. I wish I could come up here and say that we all know he's a great basketball player, but for the most part, we don't. It's really hard to make a case for Kyree because the last time we've seen him play was over 3 years ago. When's the last time a prospect in the NBA draft didn't play competitive basketball for 3 years? It's never happened. Well, if it's happened, not to my knowledge, and I'm not talking about due to injuries. He hasn't been hurt, he's just not playing. With him deciding not to go to college and choose that NBA program route that he did, I think that was a huge mistake. His draft stock coming out of high school already took a hit because he didn't play his senior season, but then he didn't even play last year. So therefore, when you're not playing, the only thing it can do is go down. And that's exactly what happened. You can make an argument and debate that it's not his fault, but he did choose to go that way. He knew not going to college it was a risk, and he decided to take it. I want you to look at it from this standpoint, and if you're a Kyree Walker fan, that's fine. I'm not hating on this guy. I'm just stating the obvious. I actually really like him, and I think he's an NBA player, but we'll touch on that in just a second. Ask yourself this question. If you're running a team, would you draft a guy that you haven't seen play competitively in 2 to 3 years? Yes, we've seen him train and do all that, but we haven't seen live action, and that's what counts. It's risky, it really is, because we don't know what to expect out of him. It's little things like, is his stamina still high and can he play with other great players? He flat out dominated middle school and most of high school basketball, but that was years ago. That stuff doesn't matter anymore. The bad part about the NBA draft is that most teams don't take too many risks because there's only 2 rounds and some teams only have 1 to 2 picks. There's 60 picks in total, so there's not too much room to be guessing on a prospect. If this was the Major League Baseball draft or NFL draft, it would be a completely different conversation and he'd most definitely get drafted because there's so many slots. The ultimate question that everybody has had, still has, and will continue to have is, will Kyree Walker get drafted and is he an NBA player? It's a great question and it's a great argument, but I really think I have the perfect answer. Before I give my full answer on that question, I want to throw in something that I thought was pretty important to this situation. I was doing some research and every single year the NBA, they send out invites to the draft combine. They only send invites out to roughly, I believe it's 80, 90 to 100 players, give or take. So right then and there, every player that even attends the combine, they're not going to get drafted. And Kyree Walker did not attend the draft combine. From everything I saw, I could be wrong, but everything I looked at, I didn't see anywhere that said he got an invite. I thought maybe he could have got an invite and decided not to go, but I didn't see that anywhere. So from everything I know, he didn't get an invite. I could be wrong, so if you know anything about that, drop it down below, but I think I'm 98% right. I think that's vital to the situation because right there, he's already behind the curve. There's already 70 to 80 players that are ahead of him. And remember, all of those guys at the combine aren't even going to get drafted. So you see what I'm saying? If you weren't good enough to get an invite to the draft combine, why in the world would I believe that you're going to get drafted on draft night? And this is really sad, but it's true, but he gets no love in any of the mock drafts. I haven't seen a single person that has him getting selected. And I understand that every mock draft you see is not going to be right and nowhere close. But most of the people that make those, they know what they're talking about and they have an inside source. So, is Kyree Walker good enough to get drafted and will he get drafted? For me, the answer is controversial. It's a 2-part answer. Yes and no. I think Kyree is way better than what some of you think and what some of you remember. The reason a lot of people hate on him and everything like that is because we haven't seen him play in so long, so people can hate and hate and hate and he has nothing to back it up. I think wherever he goes, he will surprise people and he's going to turn some heads. I think he's a better shooter than what some people expect. I think he's a great slasher and he has a pretty high IQ. He doesn't do anything absurd out there that's going to lose you a game and he's really solid on defense. As a prospect, I really like him, and I like him better than some of the players that they have going in the second round. Maybe a controversial statement or a hot take, but I think Kyree Walker and Josh Christopher are very similar. I know their games are a little different, but I'm talking about as a prospect. Josh is a little better of a defender, a little more athletic, but Kyree's right up there. Most of the mock drafts have Josh going early in the second round, and I firmly believe that Kyree, he's got the potential to do that too, and he's that good. If he would have went to college and balled out, I think he'd be in the same position as Sharife Cooper and maybe Josh Christopher. But I have to bring it up, and it's the remedy for this entire video. The major red flag, even for me and every single person, is that we haven't seen him play in so long. Just like he took a risk to go to college, it's also a risk to draft him. So I think he's good enough to get drafted. That's a yes, and I think he should get drafted. But for the second part of that question, will he get drafted? I think absolutely not, and it's not even going to be close. I firmly believe that Kyree Walker has a 0.1% chance of getting drafted. If he got drafted, I would be shocked, and it'd be the most surprising thing to come out of the draft unless Cade Cunningham didn't go number 1. From everything I've read on and looked at, I don't see how it could happen. You can say it's unfair that they're judging him because he hasn't played in forever, but it is what it is. Life's not fair. With that being said, when he does go undrafted, like I'm predicting, what's next? That's where things really start to get interesting, because if he goes to the G League, I think that'd be a big mistake, and I almost feel like he'd be better off going overseas. I think the G League is what I like to call a death spiral. Once you get in, it's hard to get out, and it's almost impossible. Unless you do what Jalen Green did and those other high schoolers, the G League is where dreams go to die. He'll probably do what most undrafted prospects do. He's going to sign with a summer league team, play for them, and then join their G League. I think this draft's really going to be interesting because a lot of people are just wanting to see what's going to happen with Kyree. I'm wishing him the best of luck. I still think he gets a lot of unwarranted hate. He's just trying to live out his dreams, so try not to hate on him too much. He gets way too much. But hey man, with all that being said, let me know what you think about this down below. And as always, let's be great. I'm out, y'all. Peace.